If you are a neurodivergent professional or entrepreneur, whether that's ADHD, ADHD, OCD, or you don't resonate with any of these labels, but you know that your brain works differently than most people, and you're feeling anxiety throughout the day that's sabotaging your confidence and causing you to play small instead of showing up as the leader you know you have the capacity to be, then you're going to want to stay until the end of this video because I'm going to break down the very first step you're going to need to take in order to resolve this. Welcome back to the Neurodivergent Superbrain Theory, brought to you by the 25-Hour Day. My name is Colin Response, internationally award-winning performing artist, entrepreneur, and global ambassador for the #1 luxury brand in the world. But most importantly, I did all of this with what most people call ADHD and obsessive compulsive disorder. I disagreed. And so I built a business that's helped now over 150 neurodiverse entrepreneurs and professionals rewire their brains from feeling overwhelmed by a lack of time, energy, or clarity to becoming masters at executing their ideas profitably and efficiently, ultimately, so that they could cut their working hours in half, add $10,000 to $20,000 a month to their income while having the freedom to live a balanced and fulfilling everyday life in the process. And today I am blessed to be joined by our guest, Nikhil. Now, Nikhil is a neurodivergent professional who specializes in helping businesses get the funding that they otherwise wouldn't have had access to. And today, I'm going to show him why he's stuck so that he can be empowered to decide whether or not he wants to resolve this barrier from his life today. And as usual, I'm going to do it while walking backwards. So let's get this step counter going and bring on our fantastic guest, Nikhil. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great, Colin.
Amazing. Have your submission up, and we're going to start by having you read it aloud.
I deal with subconscious fear and anxiety that manifests as chest tightness before getting on sales calls and throughout the day. It comes from insecurity and feelings of inadequacy I've had my whole life. Those feelings lead to squire behaviors, lack of leadership for myself and others, and just feeling bad.
Appreciate the honesty, Nikhil. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to break apart your submission, shifting all of the language that falls under the negative umbrella to the affirmative umbrella. So we first started with the subconscious fear and anxiety that manifests as chest tightness before getting on sales calls and throughout the day. Now, before we talk about where it's happening, let's talk about what you would rather be experiencing. What is the polarity of that for you? Let's start with fear.
The actual feeling that I would want to have is just pure confidence.
Excellent. Now, when we look at anxiety, what is the polarity of anxiety for you?
One of three words. I got calm, relaxation, or peacefulness.
Excellent. When we talked about the fear and anxiety that manifests somatically in your body as chest tightness, I'm looking to know how somatically you would like calm, relaxation, peace, and confidence to physically manifest in your body.
I'm not sure how to describe that. Just a relaxed body, free of tension. I can breathe openly. Yes, breathing openly and deeply and not having because that's the thing. I try to take a deep breath and I can't when I have the chest tightness. That's the thing. So always being able to breathe deeply and fully and what that does is it helps me channel like my masculine energy and my natural confidence when I'm in that space. I don't know if that was too much, but
No, that's perfect. Actually, we could hear it opening up. It started with a relaxed body, and then it was like, I don't even know the words. I don't even know the language to use. And then we went to free of tension. And the tension is, again, under this umbrella. And then we moved from that to being, okay, well, I don't want the tension. I want to be able to breathe. Wait, I want to be able to breathe openly. I want to be able to breathe openly and deeply, always. And you see how once we connect clearly to that, it's very different than the chest tightness. Even as you say it out loud, even as you spoke those things out loud, you were breathing more deeply.
yeah, I felt a difference. I still do.
Okay. How would you prefer to articulate this? Confidence, calm, relaxation, peace, manifested in my body.
Manifests in my body as me filling my chest and stomach with deep breaths. I like the the visual there of filling up my chest and stomach.
Now we have before getting on sales calls and throughout the day. Is this the same context that we're speaking about? Confidence, calm, relaxation, peace manifests in my relaxed body as me filling up my chest and stomach with deep and open breaths before getting on sales calls and throughout the day.
I'm I'm trying to think when this comes up the most.
Mhm.
Well, now that I think of it, the layer deeper behind getting on sales calls and throughout the day, I think the fear and anxiety manifests when I have to show up as a leader. That's what it is.
See it in his eyes. See it in your eyes. Just, whoa. Now, this is beautiful. I I love how in tune you are with your body, yourself, your mind, as you say these things out loud, because we can see such a nuanced reframe happening here. Getting on sales calls and throughout the day. And of course, throughout the day is a general thing. It's not very specific. It's happening, sure. But when we look at the sales calls, though it is specific, as the sales calls were connected with the subconscious fear, anxiety, and chest tightness, they were clearly associated underneath this umbrella. Now, it doesn't mean that a sales call inherently is under this umbrella. It's a neutral, objective thing. It just is what it is, right? However, obviously, the emotions connected to that circumstance were living over here. And it's very possible and totally legitimate to have this reframed to the affirmative in association with the sales calls. And in a lot of cases, would probably be the best course of action. And at the same time, to go a level deeper and understand why it's happening at the sales call and realize that it has to do with you showing up as a leader takes things to another level for when we're actually reframing this over here, deep open breaths, when you have to show up as a leader, which encompasses sales calls, which encompasses throughout the day and specifies, well, why is it happening throughout the day? It's not happening 100% of the time. It's happening at the times where you have to show up as a leader. So it isn't actually really that random in general. It's actually quite specific. And this is just one instance that you can think of very obviously. Why this is powerful is because now we can look at this and we can frame this even more into the affirmative because when we're looking at the anxiety and all that kind of stuff, that's what's happening. Technically, that could have been here, right? So conscious fear and anxiety that manifests when I have to show up as a leader, and that would still make sense. The difference between these two would be, well, what is actually the polarity of when I have to show up as a leader? Because you'd be asking, how do I want to feel? Do I want to feel like I have to show up as a leader? And that's the question I pose to you right now, and I'm interested to hear.
I think it goes back to the fear, right? Because deep down there's a scared little boy, right? And like people are relying on him, and it's scary. And that's where this thing comes up, and that relates to my childhood and not having the confidence as a child. And also, a part of this is seeing how stressed my father was in terms of him having to provide for everybody.
So when we think about the relationship we want to have with showing up as a leader, instead of it being a scary thing, we want to look at how is it that I actually want to feel about the concept of being a leader being problematic. Even if you're confident about doing this thing, you're confident about doing this thing that is inherently scary. There's a deeper level of belief of that thing being problematic and a thing to be conquered or to be able to have the courage for rather than if it was something like going to a comedy show. You would never say to have the courage and the confidence to go to this comedy show and sit in the audience, right? Because inherently it doesn't pose a threat to you unless you sit in the front row. So stay away from the front row, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone in between, stay safe. So now we get to look at this, and this is going to give us some greater clarity as to how we can reframe what's happening on a deeper level around leadership in the first place. So, leadership to you means people are relying on you. The other half was
Well, I want
it's
to go
scary.
deeper on that.
Yes, perfect.
It's not that it's scary. It's the fear is around, well, what if I don't succeed? That's the fear. The fear of failure, to be more specific.
And so the other aspect is seeing the stress that your father went through in order to provide and for people to rely on him, and the fear of that experience and or the failure of not being able to do that.
Yeah, because the thing is it was no matter how much money my dad made, it's always like we don't have enough, even if he's doing really well, which he's always done very well. We've never been like, if you looked at his income, just income, you'd be like, okay, well, why do they have any problems with money? You know? So it's like, okay, well, even if I'm crushing commissions, or regardless of how much I make, it's always like there's almost like there's not enough. So I know I'm running that program.
Okay, not having enough to provide is what you would define as failure.
Yeah. I think, well, there's a lot of things that I define as failure, but I think this hits the nail on what we're talking about right now.
Okay, and is it not having enough money specifically?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
The question I'm grappling with is if the to provide is necessary there, or if it's just about not having enough in general. Um,
Okay, gotcha.
I don't know. It's confusing to me a little bit right now.
That's great. That's why we're here, because I have some follow-up questions to this. And my next question is, what other aspects fall into the category for you of failure that you're actually afraid of, not just what would you consider to be failure? So it sounds like one of
Um,
them is simply not having enough money.
Another one is not fulfilling my potential.
So people are relying on you, and you have a fear of failure of not having enough money to provide, not having enough money for yourself.
Yeah, just to do like, yeah, it's two things. So like I have the vision of what I want my life to look like, right? Not having enough money to do that, and that encompasses having the family. It encompasses all whatever material things that I want. It encompasses the long term goals that I have in terms of giving back. And I want to build a school. I don't want to get into like exactly about that, but I have this vision of building a certain type of school, so I need to have millions of dollars to do that. So but in the short term, it's not having enough money just to simply live the life that I want, and for my partner as well, and to be able to provide for both of us. But as we write that, that feels so far in the future to me that I don't feel like that's what I'm stressing out about,
Presently.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I feel like, okay, well, that's so far in the future, I'm gonna have that.
Okay. That's not what has your chest gripping in the middle of the day.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not worried about that one.
It's this.
Correct.
Okay. Great that we've clarified. And is this gripping your chest, or is this the catch all? And these are the two things gripping your chest.
Yeah, that's right. So those the two ones, provide for yourself and provide for your partner, those are the ones that, yeah.
Cool. Now, if you felt like you were able to do these things, do you think you would feel the same way about this? Do you think that would simply be next, or do you think this would encompass so much of your goals that you would have more confidence about this?
Yeah, I would be good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it's just those two, man.
Okay, great. So now we have clarity here. Okay. So now we come back here. And so my question is this part of being defined as showing up as a leader? Is just showing up as a leader is what you need to do in order to do these things? So I have clarity.
Mm. Well, I think a leader, that is part of being a leader,
Okay.
is being able to do those things. And the thing is, here's the difference though, because I have written when I have to show up as a leader, but truly what I see myself as is a leader 24/7. There's never showing up or not showing up as a leader. I know in my heart that, and this is the funny thing, Colin, because when I get into leadership mode, I'm an amazing leader. And when I'm unencumbered and I know it's something that's like a part of me, right? It's built into, who I am, and I can do it. And so it's just like tapping into that at all times of the day. That's I want to be living in that person because I've experienced it before. And I know that like my ability to help people as well as build the life that I want will manifest effortlessly if I am in that energy space at all times of the day, and while I'm sleeping too.
Nice. You're like, and night as well.
Right? Because I'll give you an example. If let's say I'm feeling these emotions, and through I'll let them go before bed. I'll release them. I wake up in the morning and it's not very strong, but I feel it there, a little bit of tension, right? So there's something running in my subconscious while I'm asleep that is causing me to wake up with that.
Okay, so let's get in. So the components of having to show up as a leader that create fear for you, the fear of failure specifically. When we look at the fear of failure for the people who are relying on you, and we realize that it's a fear of not having enough money to provide yourself, not having enough money to provide your partner, want to know, are there any other aspects of this that have to do with the fear of people are relying on you for?
Yeah. Yeah, because my prospects are relying on me, whether they know it or not. They're relying on me to show up as the person who is capable, because most people are a good fit and most people need what I can provide. Let me think. My intuition is saying it's not the whole truth. It's an accurate part of the truth. I don't know what the whole truth is though. We've
Perfect.
gotten deep, but
It's
I'm
perfect.
missing something here that's in
That's
the
why
sphere. Yeah.
that's why we're here. That's beautiful. So right now, the fear of letting them down. I know this is not the whole aspect, but can you go ahead and put this in your own language? How, like this concept that you were
Right.
talking about.
I I almost don't even know if it's more of like a is it a fear on the front end or is it the pain on the back end? It's probably both. Um, so the fear of not being able to lead, the fear of not being able to, it's the fear of not being able to help people, even though when I can, not helping people when I can. That's the simplest way of putting it.
And so let's get a little bit clearer when we say not being able to help someone when you can. Does that mean when you had an opportunity to, or does it mean that when you have the skills to do it but fail to do it, or does it mean that because you don't have the skill to do it? Just so that I'm clear, or we're clear here.
I'd say it's the when I have the skills to do it,
Okay, important
which
distinction.
in my belief, I have the skills to do it, already 80% of the time, pretty much inside of me somewhere.
Is that accurate? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, awesome.
felt something in my body when we read that together. And this is what just occurred to me. It's more like it's the fear of failing as a man,
Okay, here we
if that
go.
makes sense. That's like the more encompassing thing. It's like all of these things fall under what a true man should be able to do.
Now we get to dive into what does it mean to be a man?
I think of like a masculine leader figure, you know, somebody who is strong emotionally and physically, has achieved mastery in one or more areas of life, like a provider, obviously.
And we're talking about financially.
Yeah, but also like whatever this goes back to my childhood, right? About what I was missing from my father probably. Because he
Mhm.
my dad's a great man, but emotionally has very low emotional intelligence and has a lot of suppressed emotions. So, whatever sort of emotional, yeah, whatever a sort of emotional nurturing a masculine figure would give to his children. I don't even know what that is, but I think
Oh,
that's what I was missing. So that's what I, see that a masculine individual would be able to do. The best analogy for this is like it's like a man who, they're the most caring and sweet person when you talk to them, but also in your mind like this person could kill you too. Like
we can kill you. It's funny because I write
Yeah.
down all the things because we're going to find the language that is truly resonant with these things. You mentioned so many things here that
Yeah.
clarify why you've had such a challenge embodying these states of being. You have very hazy concepts of what they are. You have no ability to truly grasp the qualities. One, you mentioned you lacked an example of that quality. Two, we can't presently yet describe the quality. We've spent the time we need to go deeper to see what components of that quality are even important to you. So as we keep going, Is it any surprise to you why you've had a challenge cultivating this thing that is so nebulous to you?
No, it's not a surprise that it was a challenge. And it's funny we're having this conversation today because yesterday, I had there was like some my girlfriend was complaining, not complaining, she was
Don't worry,
telling
I'll edit
me
that
that
out.
yeah, she was telling me that I wasn't showing up as like the man that she was used to. I was like, "What's going on?" And I'm telling her, "No, I'm just working really hard. I'm dialed in on my schedule. I'm doing all the training, everything." But she's like, "No, like you just don't seem happy. What's going on? Like
Mhm.
you don't have that energy. You don't seem interested in anything. You don't want to love me as much. Like you seem disinterested in me." And then all of a sudden it clicked. I was like, "Holy shit, like our relationship has become depolarized. I've shifted into this more feminine energy and I've lost my essence. I've lost it." And then the moment that happened, it was just like boom, I just got ripped back into like who I'm supposed to be, like a masculine individual. And then I'm just there's like 10 things that I just knocked out that I wasn't doing and knocked all of them out, literally cleaned up the entire apartment. And my energy today has been completely different. I've been energized and happy and still doing the work, but when I'm not in my work, I'm completely present with my woman. Just like, whoa. And that is much closer to the person that I'm meant to be, that leader, the person that I'm trying to describe here.
So, that aspect you spoke about with your father, do you feel like these things are encompassed in there? Like the polarity of what you were experiencing?
Yeah, because he had the emotional instability, so emotion like being emotionally strong would cover that.
Mhm.
And then there's so many instances in my life where my mom on the surface and the external, it might seem like she's yelling at him or she's screaming at him, but internally that's not what's going on. There's a lack of emotional intelligence and understanding about the relationship and what she's actually asking, and him not listening or lack of presence. And I think all of that falls into emotional intelligence.
Mhm. Okay. So, emotionally strong, emotionally intelligent, emotionally mature.
Mm, that's good. That's good.
So that's great that this resonates with you because it sounds like what you were mentioning, the ability to navigate and use the strength and intelligence. Because you can have those two things, even if it's not emotional. Just think about this, you could be strong and you could be intelligent and you could still do foolish things.
Mm, yeah, that's spot on. Really.
So I'm curious to know if you feel like these encompass this.
I would add physical strength into that, and then all of them would encompass that statement.
Okay. Now they have achieved mastery in one or more areas of life. So we have to define what does it mean to achieve mastery?
I think mastery is a level of performance that is significantly exceeds what most people are able to do. Or I would even make that shorter and said that exceeds the ability of 99% of people.
Now you see how irrelevant a statement like this is when you have a statement like this.
Yeah, it's so much more powerful.
And not only is it more powerful, it's actually achievable. Like you can't achieve this. Mastery is subjective. In my personal opinion, you don't call yourself a master. You're a master when other people call you a master.
Mm,
And it's usually the masters who see themselves as students who are constantly learning because if they saw themselves as a master, they would probably just stop. And that's the reason why they have skills beyond 99% of people by your definition, right?
yeah.
Mastery to me is the people who are consistently growing and consistently getting better, even though their performance doesn't necessitate it.
Mm,
Like they're already better. They're already good enough to do whatever it is they need to do or anyone else needs them to do. It's actually the craft of it that is why they're continuing to do that practice. So we got a masculine leader figure, which is physically strong, emotionally intelligent, emotionally mature, and able to provide. You feel like that encompasses?
that's it. That hits the money right there.
Okay, great. So what is the polarity of not having enough money to provide for yourself
Having more money that I could spend for myself.
and for your partner?
It's like For me, the motivation for my partner's like I want to get the best things, like the best, highest quality. It's like she can get whatever she wants whenever she wants, and it makes no difference to me. How can I make that better? Having more money than she can spend. That's really what it is.
Would be careful. No, but is that how you envision it?
Yeah, man. If she wanted to like buy some, absurdly expensive item of clothing because it was the highest quality linen, I would want that, you know?
Having the highest quality linens. It's amazing. Okay, so her having more money than she could spend, is that how you would define it?
No, because I mean, I would be making the money. So I mean, it's like shared, right? It's not that I own it or she owns it.
Yep.
So I would just eliminate the her at the beginning. I see it as more of like a collective thing, right?
Like we
Just
having more money than she can spend.
yeah, I we have more money than I can spend, and we have more money than she can spend.
Got it. Good distinction. And you spoke about your potential. And so when you spoke about your potential, was that encompassed in the things we've spoken about so far, or is that a different
Yeah,
situation?
I think the potential is the mastery thing that we talked about.
Gotcha. Right here.
That's really what it is.
So now you have the fear of not being able to help someone when I already have the skills to do it. So what is the opposite of this?
So the opposite, I channel my highest abilities to help everyone that I can.
Bam. All right. So now we talk about the insecurity and feelings of inadequacy. Now, are these handled here? And
Yeah.
if not, let's talk about what the polarity of this. Actually, let's still just talk about what the polarity of this is.
Okay. I mean, I think it's just the confidence.
It's the confidence that we mentioned.
Yeah, it's ironclad confidence that well the masculine leader figure has ironclad confidence.
What makes it
Nothing
ironclad?
nothing can shake it. It's like invincible armor. Invincible emotional armor.
So if you saw this as a child, how stressed your father was, what would be the polarity of seeing this?
Ah, yes, I would see him happy, relaxed, loving, present. I think that's it.
Nice. Right. So if you saw somebody in pursuit or doing all of these things while they were happy, relaxed, loving, and present, do you think that would encompass what you have this idea of what ironclad confidence actually is?
Hmm, interesting.
And I'm not saying it is, but what I am saying is that we had feelings of insecurity and inadequacy that we found were coming from you not having this confidence as a child, also being informed by seeing how stressed your father was from needing to provide. And the polarity of being stressed, needing to provide, would be an energetic space that's happy, relaxed, loving, and present. And those would have been the things that allowed you to have confidence in being able to do these things. Do you think it's possible that maybe the idea of this unshakable, ironclad confidence may actually be a conceptualization? Could this would stop the stress
You're
rather than it actually being the polarity?
I think you're absolutely right because what I think about is let's say my father was happy, relaxed, loving, present. Not even 100% of the time, but let's say 20 or 30% more than he was. That would have created an energy space to cultivate more confidence for myself, because he would have, the XYZ behaviors would have changed. So,
Like ironclad confidence, your definition of it, invincible emotional armor. Nothing can get through it. The stress cannot get through it. But it's not actually the destination. It's still in this umbrella.
yeah.
When we look at this, is there a need for invincible emotional armor and ironclad confidence when you're happy, relaxed, loving, present?
No, not at all.
It's not
Literally,
even relevant.
that is the armor. Yeah.
Yes.
That first sentence that we initially wrote,
Hmm.
I would change it now after our conversation. I would switch it from when I have to show up as a leader to because I am a leader. I had these ideas, but now I have clarity. And with that clarity, the feeling that I have is a quantum shift to the feeling that I had when I got on this call, because it's so clear. I know what I have to execute on. I know what I need to do. I'm already around the people who have outlined the path for me to do so. I have the people in my life who have already shown me the path. Now I'm clear on exactly the destination. I can follow their path. I've been doing stuff like this, but the level of detail is on another level. And this is way deeper than I've ever gone.
The series exists to show you, by expanding your perspective, that no matter how much time, energy, or money you spend focused on the wrong thing, you will never resolve the problem. But it is possible to resolve using neuroscience to reprogram your neural pathways so that the things that used to hold you back transform into things that move you forward. So if you're one of those people who knows you have a massive capacity for yourself, but you haven't been able to step into the form of leadership that you know you have the capacity for, click the link in the description of this video. I've put a link to one of my free masterclasses that you can attend and see what is possible for you when you learn how to leverage the way that the neurodiverse brain naturally works. Unfortunately, at the time of this recording, we are at capacity. But if you want to show up as the leader, you know that you can be, so that you can provide. If you want to add an extra $10,000 or $20,000 a month to your income or more by cutting your working hours in half so you have more time to be present, attend the free masterclass, because it is possible for you.
The money is made in the details. This is on another level.
I want to say thank you to our guest, Nikhil, for blessing us all with his honesty and his presence.
Thanks, Colin. That was incredible, actually.
We'll see you next time.